Hello guys, welcome back. So the topic today is Gran Turismo. I just recently saw it, and this is a movie that actually covers three different genres. It is a video game adaptation, it is an automotive racing movie, and also a biopic. All three things at the same time. The premise is that it follows Jan Mardenborough, his story of how he became a professional stock car racer by logging in numerous hours of Gran Turismo till he was so good at it that he was the best in his country, and then eventually gets his shot to race for Team Nissan by proving that he is the best Gran Turismo player in the world. That's basically it in a nutshell. And let me just say, after I saw that trailer of this movie, I was really excited to see it. Gran Turismo is directed by Neil Blomkamp. I don't know much about him, and I know that he hasn't directed many movies that I have enjoyed. I do know the last movie I watched that I enjoyed that he directed was Elysium, but his gemstone so far has been District 9. I wouldn't say that Gran Turismo really is better than any of those other movies, but definitely still a good movie. Far better video game adaptation than Need for Speed was, because that one was just horrible. So Archie Maddock is the one playing our big star. He's the one who played Jan Mardenborough, and honestly, they couldn't have picked a better person. This movie is taking place in 2011, and Jan Mardenborough was only 19 when he first got entered into the GT Academy, and they look very similar. You couldn't really have picked a better actor for this role. He was young, he looked like a gamer, and that was just perfect. And he wasn't cocky or anything like that. He wasn't cocky from what I saw in the movie. He was actually very mellow, very compassionate about what he wanted to do. David Harbour also did a great job as, the trainer for Team Nissan and at the GT Academy. Even though his character's fictional, he did a really good job. Ever since, I remember when I first watched him as Hellboy, and it was like, what is going on? And then ever since he started doing Stranger Things, it was like his popularity is just going up, 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 up. And he becomes like a real relatable character with these kids because he's training them to fulfill their dream, but they're not used to all the physical demands of what it takes to be a racer, because they're so used to just sitting in their chairs and just driving normally with a steering wheel right here. So it was interesting to see how his character developed, because first he couldn't stand these kids, and then all of a sudden when Jan's got picked, they start bonding real emotionally. I think the real best part of when their relationship really started getting kicked off was when David Harbour's character was riding in the car with Jan's, and he messed up on a turn, and then Harbour was like, if you can't commit, don't do this. But Jan was saying, it's not that I didn't want to commit, it was like there was something wrong with the brakes. And Harbour says, you know what, something's wrong with the brakes, you're going home from this academy. And the real driver gets in there, he says, he was right, something's wrong with the brakes. He was like, wow, that kid was actually right, he knows what he's talking about. Leaving all the heartfelt parts aside, of course, though, there are a lot of heartfelt parts in this movie, but aside from that, the movie was just mainly intensity, because, we see basically in the trailer, it's basically about training a kid to learn how to race, and we see basically the whole movie, what the whole movie will be about, actually, in that little trailer. But, the whole movie was it was intense during the racing, and it was like Neil Blomkamp wanted to not only give us the feel of an automotive movie, but actually give a shout out to those who have played this video game as well. It's obvious that this movie was directed at the demographic of those who have played this game, as well as those who play any other automotive racing games, and he wanted us to give us that intensity feeling, like we were actually there. Like we were actually part of the race, like we were the ones inside the car with the drivers, and give us that realism. So and in the way I see it, it's actually, he does a very good job of it, but there are also some parts where it's mixed, and you're just seeing parts of the race, and you'd be really interested to see these other parts that we're not getting to see during Mardenborough's season. What I'm trying to say, it seems like they just wanted to use certain tracks to like have certain parts to give us that intensity feeling. I mean, there's a lot of tracks in Gran Turismo. If you play Gran Turismo, you know there's a lot of tracks. You probably know they're not going to get to every single one of them, so they probably just took some of the most popular ones and then just smushed the other ones together. I honestly wish we probably had gotten more racing and then a little less melodrama, but then again, I'm pretty sure there was others thinking that too, and thinking also that if we just give them tons of racing, it's probably just going to make the movie just very repetitive, like it's just constantly repeating itself. We might as well just do a mini-series then. But we're not doing a mini-series, we're doing a movie. So they kind of just like scrunched a bunch of races together to get us to the point where we need to be, and then taking a break from the racing. And then we'll get back to an intense feeling again in about another half an hour. That's basically how this film works most of the time. I mean, I've used this term before, it's like a roller coaster. It basically gives you an intense feeling up here, and then we go down here for some melodrama, and then we get back up to the intense feeling again, back down a little more for some more melodrama. It's basically like that the entire flick. I mean, that kind of makes it a little bit more predictable, but still, even if it is predictable, and you're still feeling the itch to bite your nails when you know what's coming, I think that's saying that the movie's doing something right. The only thing I feel bad about is that they didn't really give a father-son relationship. I mean, Jaimin Hansu is the one playing John Marndo's father, and, well, there's not a lot of relationship built between them, unless, like, when he's, like, chewing him out and telling him to get a grip on his life. The real father-son relationship was more of like a student-teacher relationship. I mean, the main chemistry came from, of course, John Marnborough and David Harbour's character. I mean, he's the new driver of today. David Harbour was the driver of the past. He's now the trainer. But, I mean, I understand how that relationship works, because, I mean, it can make a real connection there, but it just seemed like Jaimin Hansu's character was really wasted in this movie, and he could have been used a lot. There's only really one big father-son moment in this movie. It's like, takes place like a little before he like tries to, I guess, get his place in the GT Academy. Jaimin Hansu is just chewing him out, saying like, stop looking at the stars, focus on your life now. And of course, our main character takes big offense to that, because he truly believes wholeheartedly that by playing this game, he's going to get somewhere in life, and thankfully he does. And then later, we have that heartfelt moment where he's coming back to him saying that he should have supported him better. But the bad thing about that is that there was really no build up to it. It was just like, this moment happens here, he goes to the academy, he becomes a racer, and then he sees him again, he's like, I'm sorry, I should have been more supportive. I'm like, there's no real build up to that. I mean, it was just like, this happened here, I was wrong, I should have never told you to, not follow your dreams. So, I mean, if we got a little more build up to that, that would have probably been a lot more heartfelt. Overall, this movie is really your typical underdog story. I mean, how a kid who spent his life playing a video game most of his life became someone. I mean, that's basically your typical underdog story, and it's made it another reason why it became more predictable. I don't want to say rags to riches, of course, because rags to riches is a completely different topic. But an underdog story, if you're seeing that kind of story, it becomes predictable, and you know what's going to come, because the underdog is the one we see on top in the very end. I'm going to give Gran Turismo a B+. A great automotive racing movie, definitely one of the better ones out there. I mean, I wish there were just some things that could have been done, but, we didn't get to that. I think it was a better automotive biopic than Rush, but I don't think it's better than Ford versus Ferrari. But definitely had some great throwbacks to the game, and also, I mean, It's a great movie to watch whether you've played the game or not. I mean, I'm wanting to see it again because I didn't even get to see it in IMAX, and I definitely want to see this movie in IMAX. Alright, well, if you've seen Gran Turismo, or if you're planning on seeing Gran Turismo and have only seen the trailer at the moment, please comment here down below what your thoughts are about this movie. And also, if you like my other videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is John Berg, your average movie lover, signing out.